Hi guys.
And it's still not episode review time yet. We got into this rhythm for like 2 years basically. It's weird, Stuart.
Yeah, Fridays at this time, yes, exactly.
But that break is not much longer, Stuart. So don't get used to the last remainder of the piece and all quiet.
Right?
No sir. No sir. No
Yeah.
sir. It's gonna be busy.
That's a good that's a good segue into you sharing and me saying
Oh
subscribe to the
wow.
channel.
Yes.
Click that notification bell icon to all so you don't miss those reviews. This is the way.
For real. Like there's gonna be lots. In depth.
Yeah.
Detail. It's gonna be great. See you in a second.
Yeah. Yeah. And hit that like button. We have 20 likes right now, which is awesome. Let's keep going. Let's try to get up to 50 to start with. So if you're just joining us, or if you're joining us after the fact, hit that like button and help us out that way. Another great way, of course, is super chats. Ozzy has already super chatted. Great way to start out. So thank you so much, Ozzy. We'll read that in just a second. But we do read them all in the air, so you can get your thoughts out there. We're going to be looking at some ships today, trying to kind of figure out what they are. Yeah, we hopefully we'll have a good time talking about this and looking at the station too. So the resolution's not very good. Let's just say that right out of the gate. So we can't really do 100% what they are, but that's all right. So anyway, yes, like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that stuff. You know the routine. If you want to help us on a monthly basis, you can join the channel. There's a join button down there, or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards, where you too can be part of Team Trekyards and support us. So thank you so much. And yeah, looking forward to hearing all your thoughts about this one. New station, a fleet, a large fleet. Try to figure out which ships are there, and it'll be interesting. So, and why is this celebration happening? Why the fireworks and such? We will talk about it. Let's see, 35 people here now, so hit that like button, guys.
I have
We start out with one. Ooh, good. Start out with one super chat from Ozzy with $5. Shields up, red alarm alert. Red alarm alert. It's pizza time. Okie dokie, pineapple. Tom Casey, $5. Can't stay. Watch it later. Have fun, boys.
Oh.
Thank you, Tom. And hello, Tom. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show, because you're going to watch this after the fact. So, ta-da. All right.
Future past. I like it. I like it. Dear me.
Terrence Childs. I got Romulan ale from eBay, and it's just vodka with blue food coloring. Oh.
Yeah, we have a special like energy drink thing. It's like a Lucozade hybrid thing. It's way sugary than you think, and it made them all hyper because you do 3 takes. So we were filming and you did 3 takes, and you got to top it up each time. We went through like 4 bottles. I mean, bottles, but they were like, "Damn it, we've had so much sugar." The next take got more bouncy. The one after that, even more bouncy. Oh dear. So what about today, Stuart? In our season 3 coverage.
Now we're talking about a new Earth Spacedock. By the looks of things, a bigger, more expansive, a larger one. Yesterday we talked about the museum, which is probably inhabiting the old Spacedock. But this is the new one, and we got a fleet of ships, some of which seem recognizable. It's hard to tell. The resolution is not super great, but we can kind of suss out what they are. So we just kind of want to talk about what's represented and, what you guys think is there.
Exactly. Yeah, we had such fun with the last live, looking around the ships, that I was able to sort of decipher and find the best quality version that's still possible in a compressed online medium format.
Yeah.
But we both talked about looking at it, and we haven't yet, and we always sleuth more. We actually dedicate time to it, so that should be great for
And you guys can help us with the sleuthing today and figure out what ships are which.
It's not about outsourcing the sleuth, but if you would like to sleuth with us, we encourage a sleuth.
I'm going to call one right now. I dare say that one on the left, that really large one, is a Riker class. It's been in service for quite a while, but still doing its thing.
Well, it stopped for a while. It had to have the pizza refit, but once it did, it was firing all cylinders. Although its sensors are pretty terrible because it doesn't detect immediate deaths of best friends for 50 years. It just doesn't. But
It's a shield reinforcement vessel, the Riker class.
Mm.
Just comes in and yells shields up, and then all the ships in the fleet just shields go up. So
even if the shield's already up, they go up twice. It's amazing.
Exactly. That's why it's a reinforcement ship.
It's like the do you remember in Armada? There's a ship that can clone you, and it's like, huh? What? This was a thing in canon? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
speaking
okay.
Of a ship that can clone you, there might be an ad for cloning right now. Did you get the cloning ad? I don't know.
What are the chances of that? An ad for cloning? My goodness, that's a very out of left field suggestion, Stuart. And if you're right, hey, all power to you, man.
I mean, maybe if YouTube's around in like 30 years and somebody's watching this video, not that they would.
God.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna do a poll as well.
Do the poll. The video on the Star Trek website you would use. Yes. The station in DC, not Marvel, according to the door markings. Changed my mind. DC. It does look like a DC. It's nice. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Clue as to scale compared to Jupiter Station Voyager. I just want to see it compared to like the older Spacedock, because this one you would assume would be able to get in Galaxy classes, Sovereigns, all fit in there. The old one definitely.
You'd like to think so, at least.
Yeah.
So yeah. So let's look at the overall station before we look at the. Sometimes I can zoom in on the graphic before we look at the fleet. And we did talk about this in the original trailer thing, but I think it's a slightly better resolution one than when we had back then. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, let's have a look then. So now, what is the same? What is different? Because you would think that they could have just said, right, we'll take Earth Spacedock pieces and kit bash something new. They might have just taken the the top ring and shoved it on the side, the top bit on the like that could just literally be what they've done. But it's all I don't know if they've done that. I don't know.
Oh, the shapes are quite. They look very similar on first glance, but they're it's a new design for sure.
But I mean the side
better,
pieces compared to the other pieces. I mean,
I didn't know better. I thought this was like if we saw the station museum from last live, and then I saw this right after, and there's no talk about time and passing. This looks like those rings are expanded to become something more, and it just became a bigger station overall.
Right. Oh yeah. Thematically, yes.
I do like those additions to it.
I wouldn't be surprised though if they literally said, right, we need to make a space station whose doors fit the Enterprise D saucer, because that's as big as they're ever going to get probably. Because the width is the issue there.
Until the J.
Well, yeah, but that just transwarp that transwarp spore metamorphose in. But I think this is a giant station. I mean, this thing feels bigger than Earth Spacedock. It just has a certain oomph to it that Earth Spacedock feels neat. This feels big.
Yeah.
My vote.
Sean O'Sullivan, member for 3 months at the rank of Commander.
Thank you so much.
Commander. Want Canada class with pineapple, live logs and proper.
Okay. Many jokes there.
Let's see what the poll is.
Yes, there we go. I got you.
Earth Spacedock, old, new, or both? The new one, the old one, or both, for different reasons.
Because of all the different things we're given, this feels like they're trying to be an evolution of the other.
Yeah. And
this is obviously busier, but it's also got more details, and it's not limited by the limitations of physical model building. The spires at the top can only be so big or so small. Now they can be micro details that you just wouldn't really be able to practically have on a physical miniature. Because there's never a CG one in canon. There was always a physical miniature with really stock footage. That's why we never saw it past a certain point. As in the classic one.
And Dan Ben, what are those pink things above it? Fireworks? Yes, I believe they're fireworks. It's some kind of celebration. It could be weapons. They could have been fooling us all, but it definitely looks like fireworks.
Well, I think they said it's either First Contact Day or the other big holiday. I think they specifically said it's a specific holiday.
That's cool. Snoopy McQueen, $5 with the Keep It Up pair. Thanks so much, Snoopy.
We are the pair that keeps on going.
We will endeavor to keep it up.
I mean, what if you were to simplify to the poll yourself? Do you like this, the other one, or both for different reasons?
I like both for different reasons, but I really like this one. This has got such nuance and such like it's just impressive looking. You know, the other one was impressive looking in Star Trek 3 for sure. But
it's been 40 years since, or 30 years since.
Yeah. So this one definitely has a lot going on. As you said, it's busier as far as like details go and stuff. But yeah, I like the design. I really do. I would love to get a model of this one. I have the first Spacedock from Eagle Moss.
I was so thrilled they made that as well, because they said it wouldn't happen for a long time.
Yeah.
The space stations won't sell. They made like 7. Yeah. Not to say it's old though, in fairness, but they made them.
Well, everybody I know has one. Yeah. So
but we know people, Stuart.
It's true.
Now, do you think that the reason for the outer circle pods is harkening back to Jeffrey's concept, the classic TOS station thing? Because there's only so many art styles that Trek has done, and so an easy way of winning brownie points is to hearken to a style. And if a style is arms to pods, I mean, is that simply what they've just done here?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I think it would tie into that TOS style station we've seen before, in like fan films and Matt Jeffrey's work. But actually, I just noticed this zooming in on the one pod.
Yeah.
It looks like there's space dock doors in the pod as well.
The one on the left,
or the one on the right, actually.
In the middle.
Very far right, but in front of us.
Oh, okay.
If you zoom in, it looks like the same kind of doors. It's even got the those markings on the doors. So it could be for smaller vessels.
Because my obviously question is that have they just taken that middle chunk and gone squish and made it the other pods? It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you know the shapes look different enough. I think they've done that, but they've made it more original. That's why the door would be continuing. Now, if they were to say that each of those pods are Earth Spacedock sized.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. We don't have a scale reference necessarily here. So, got windows, which makes it look not much bigger than the original Spacedock, to be fair. But yeah, it's got a different middle bit. There's not as much going on there. So,
because I'm wondering though, if you look at Earth Spacedock, obviously it's the hardest thing to build would be the physical outer structure in general, but the core, all the stuff in the bottom 2/3, that's technical hardware. The top is a big open space. So of the things to build, that would be the easiest thing to build, relatively speaking. So if you're going to say, right, we've got, we know that TNG one has the 76, which fits a D. That's already like 40 times the size of a space dock. We know that. We've done the scale charts. It's giant. So that's not unprecedented. If then they've just made each of the other pods just Earth Spacedock size, which we know fits all of the smaller craft, then all they've done is just say, well, we just need to build the top. They're just parking spaces. That seems pretty organic to me. I mean, it's very simplistic, but logical, and that's, I mean, Trek was, good at using its own components and reusing and being careful with them. So it's kind of nice to see something be that efficient.
Now, my question is this the first time we've seen this station, or has it appeared in like on book covers? Has it appeared in STO? I don't know if I recognize it, but I feel like I recognize it, not just because of her space dock, but
I mean, it's close enough to so many things, that it could be.
Yeah.
There's only, if we're all to design a station, there would be an ilk that this might follow, etc. But yeah.
George Mangrum, member for 22 months at the rank of captain. Says, is it Captain Picard Day? Ooh, maybe. It's a pretty big celebration now.
I mean, yeah. Well, he did just help save the galaxy recently. Was that a thing they did?
Yeah. Oh, look, Trek Culture's here. Hello, Trek Culture.
Oh my god. Greetings.
Dennis Sheridan throws in $10.
Thank you.
In the New York Comic-Con trailer, there is a blink and you'll miss it poster in the background of 10 Forward for Frontier Day. I don't know what that is, but maybe that's what the fireworks are for.
Yes,
that would be my guess.
Yes. Which I don't know if it's an original creation. It doesn't necessarily ring a bell, but it might be an iteration of another holiday. Maybe it's based on exploration.
Yes, Final Frontier Day.
Yes.
Frontier Day.
Yeah, everyone gets together and goes explores a new system. But it's you know, and this is one thing that CG allows you to do. You build the same piece and you squish, cut, change it, but they could easily just have put 6 Earth space docks around the outer rim. Now we know they have another space dock because they used it in the museum. But it's it just works, doesn't it?
It does. It looks really good. Trek Culture says, just linked our video to your trailer reactions. Was fun hanging out the other night.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
Come back more often.
I assume it's Chris.
It's always Chris.
Chris is great. Speaking of, I haven't played any Warcraft against Chris. Or not Warcraft, oh God. Call of Duty Modern Warfare against Chris in a while. But I'm not a good DMZ guy, so anyway.
I feel like the angle's overall harsher.
Yeah, I should pull up the other one just so I can compare.
Shall I bring that render up then, Stuart? Shall I?
Yeah, put them side by side.
I'll put them side by side.
Might as well. I mean, it's...
Yes.
Just saying.
This is obviously from Star Trek 3.
Yeah.
As in the shot. So, I mean, we've all seen 3D versions of it. It's obviously a slightly different angle, well, very different angle, but I mean, it shows you how every single element is different, but every single element harkens to another element that you know. But they're all different. It's actually more different than I thought, and definitely they've removed a lot of the curves because it's very curvy. I mean, Earth Spacedock is giant curve, giant straight, giant curve, giant straight ball.
Yeah.
That is very specific. This is a whole hybrid of things.
It is quite different, isn't it? Oh, I didn't realize it was quite that different.
Well, if it's 6 times the size, it makes sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We've also got the museum up as well, and yeah, it is exactly like Earth Spacedock. I will say it is Earth Spacedock. Calling that now. Not that I haven't already called that, but just saying. Don't laugh at me.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Now I don't have such a feeling.
Oh, I was just coughing. No, I wasn't coughing at you, though, Stuart. I was coughing at the world.
Oh, you were coughing at me. It's fine. I get it. I see how it is. But yeah.
Thanks, Squad, of course. Nice one.
This is a nice addition. I really like the look of this starbase.
And hashtag Smith. Why change it? Well, the other one is like 170 years old, and it can't fit any modern ships in it.
Yeah, the modern ships. Yeah.
I mean, I was saying yesterday, it makes sense. It would have been shifted out maybe 50 years ago, 40 years ago, like in TNG. We never saw it Earth. We never knew it was there. Like, I actually kind of like that it was being phased out over decades as the one was being built. And there might even be a flashback of a de-aged, LeVar at Earth. It cuts from real footage of brothers, the follow up to Best of Both Worlds, and then cuts to LaForge on watching the space dock on Earth. It's like, oh wow, de-aged LeVar.
Yeah. Guys, why is there only one Earth space dock, no atmospheric shield, and we never see the moon? Wait, 6 times the size. Well, we see the moon quite often, even in Star Trek 3, where they're actually going into space dock. That shot's from Star Trek 6, I believe, when you got up. But you do see the moon. Unfortunately, Riker says that the moon in his time has, like, you can see Lake Armstrong and Tycho City and all that. Each time we've seen it, in TNG and otherwise, there's nothing on the moon. But in the game, Bridge Crew, that I play in VR, the moon's got a lot of stuff on it. You can see all that stuff. You got the city lights and all that stuff, which is quite cool to see. So you do see the moon a few times, but yeah.
And also, there isn't anything to say there's one Earth space dock. I mean, you need a central command station. I assume there's, Earth Dock 2, Earth Dock 3. It's just not given the modicum of the singular big dock. And besides, they've got hundreds of dry docks, so there's already places to park ships. That is a place to park ships and do something else.
Gotta wonder, too, if this is the commissioning of this station on Frontier Day, like its first active day or something.
It took 30 years to make, yeah. And it's the whole run of TNG. And now it's finally ready. That's possible. I mean, that would certainly be a nice way of symbolising a new era, is we've launched, and in fact maybe the museum's new as well. Maybe it got moved there 5 years ago, which is relatively new as for the length of the history of the station. But as to why no atmosphere shields, because I would not associate Trek with that sort of technology level. Picard's a bad example because they throw shit in. The Romans could do it once and evil us. But I was like, planetary shield just feels so advanced. Like, Discovery, fine, the future, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, you see it in Discovery in the future.
That I can buy.
Earth is supposed to be a welcoming place. The Federation isn't like, hey, welcome to Earth and our Federation. Sorry about the shield. We're just afraid of getting attacked.
And it also seems like the power needed to generate a thing like that would be... I mean, almost infinite, Like, I would assume it'd be thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of warp reactors. I mean, of any great... think about how big the planet is. My God. And it has to be strong and last out... Because any shield would have to last hours of bombardment, if not days. So it already has to be insanely able. Otherwise, what's the point? So I think because the one in... Because now I'm thinking back. The one in... there's two. There's the one in Picard season 2 on the Evil Universe. That wasn't a shield, as in the against attack. That was to keep the atmosphere in. So that has to be thin. That's just purely, almost cosmetic, right? So that's different. It's
like
not
a force field, not necessarily a deflector shield.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a protective shield. It's a protective shield. And the one in the Romulan one, they had weapon turrets, I believe. They had another secondary system around it. So it was probably just we need to bide our time for a couple of seconds, a minute or two. Of course, you can break through it, but the cannons will move to you. And then the third thing, Never to the Moon. I mean, it's budget of the shot. I mean, it costs a lot to put everything else in, and then, like you said, you have to, in theory, put the stuff on it, but they rarely do. I think they did in Lower Decks once. I feel like one time.
Was it the Phoenix episode?
I feel like, yeah, because they zoomed past it. I feel like they did.
Yeah, I think they might have. Yeah, it's been seen quite a few times in Trek, but most of the time it's presented wrongly. It's just the moon. There's nothing on it. So, yeah, let's see. What's the station called? We don't know. Probably Earth Spacedock. They probably just transferred that moniker over to that.
Yes.
So, because the other one is Starfleet Museum now.
We think. We assume.
Yes.
It makes sense for us.
One giant space dock looks like a big target to an invading force. What are its defenses? We did a video about it. Oh, the original Earth space dock anyway. I think we talked about defenses there. However, you'd want it to be the target. Please leave the planet alone and all the civilians. Come after us first. And the Breen did so. The Breen kind of took care of that already. So, yeah. You just think there'd be more of them around Earth's orbit? I do kind of agree. There should be like 3, maybe. But
it makes sense to have a central one and lots of smaller ones.
It does, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's Earth defense platforms orbiting, I would think, too, which would have to be just weapons in case of attack. But this thing's armed enough. It's got a few tricks up its sleeve.
Well, I mean, one giant target. You know how big the planet is. You actually have to actively aim for this planet. There's almost no way you could get in weapons range of it without actively going to it, based on the size of the planet. Because I'm sure 99.99999 recurring of the atmosphere has nothing remotely close to it. So it's actually tiny in the grand scheme. Really.
Yeah.
But it's not a defense place. That's in theory what the ships are for, etc. This thing is a command center for everybody. I would love to see it at some point show what it can do, but I mean, just like with both DS9 and some other thing I can't remember. Oh, the scimitar. You can pack something with weapons and make it powerful. So I would assume this thing would have 5,000 torpedo launchers, 10,000. I mean, I think 5,000 is probably a smart play. 5,000 torpedo launchers. 20,000 phaser launching phaser turret things. I mean, yes, it might only have enough armaments on board to launch like 4 torpedoes each. But if you're launching 10,000 torpedoes, I mean, you don't want a war of attrition. You want to just pew, you know?
Yeah, it's like Bridge Commander when you go up against like DS9, you can't defeat it really because it just throws everything at you.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kind of concerns me about having this in orbit of Earth and being so well armed, if somebody does get control of the station, you can start annihilating Earth from orbit. But you know.
Well, yes, but then
that's the drawback to anything really.
And it's the exact same thing as why a bridge on the top of the saucer is not really a problem, because you always have shields, and the small times you don't have shields, that there's more to worry about than like it is the big problem. So if people have already taken over the space dock, like that's already a hyper level of problem. The fact that it has more torpedoes can take out Earth. It's like, give it the space dock's been taken. You know, like what if it crashed? I mean, this thing could cause
extinction level of that.
You know, something as simple as that is also a problem. So it's one of those things where you just kind of gotta go with it. But that said, I mean, this is the entire opposite vibe. I could see there being a moratorium on we don't arm this thing.
I could too, yeah.
It seems silly, but there's a certain Starfleetianness to we just don't arm it at principle. Yeah. You're safe here. You can go one of two ways: armed to the teeth or entirely unarmed. No medium.
In Lower Decks, we did see a starbase where the Texas class launched from that had weapons. Yeah. So we saw that this would have some weapons. I don't think we loaded to the nines like it could be, because like I said, there's probably other orbiting defense platforms and things in the solar system that can handle that. But it would probably have a few defenses. I don't think it'd be really overdone though, honestly. Aussie though throws in $5. You're going to walk right through the main. You're just going to walk through them. Calm yourself, Doctor. Ray Ricks, £5. The main one is probably like a diplomatic welcome station, etc. Arrivals, port, etc. The others could just handle traffic. Yeah, and you kind of get the feeling that's what Spacedock is. It's not only a repair facility, supplementing the dry docks that are in orbit.
I think resupply, not repair.
Yeah, for mainly yes, but I mean, if you could pull damaged ships in there, the Enterprise goes straight in there after its battle.
But it wasn't repaired at all. That was probably disembarked people because they probably assumed we don't want to transport them because they could be damaged. We'd rather put them by the gangways.
Maybe because they had repaired the ship on the way back, so it was patched up. But yeah,
because it makes more. Don't risk it. Plus, then there's probably special scanners inside or something. But I kind of like that. Yes, it's more of a way station whereby there's probably dedicated cargo shuttles that are like the entire size of a shuttle bay, and so they can go in and then pull all the cargo out. Versus a dry dock where you'd have to do little work bees, would feel less because obviously on a dry dock conventionally the space above it is a few offices and dry dock bays with some gear. There isn't just space for the sake of space. Whereas Spacedock, they could offload everything, make it fresh, take it to the dry dock, and
I agree with that 100%. Because even in Spacedock, you see things flying around, but there's travel pods. There's different types of shuttles. You don't really see work bees.
No, you don't.
Work bees are associated more with the dry dock area.
Which is sad, because work bees are great.
Yeah.
But also, I can imagine, this seems a bit arrogant, but I mean, have you met Styles? Captain Styles. I would imagine that there might be a little precedent set whereby admirals will beam to a space dock to visit a ship in space dock, but they won't go to dry dock because that's like where it's not a peasant place, but that's like it's doing its thing. Technically, I'm not there for that. They want the ship to come to them, so they can just swan on, up to the dry dock or up to the space dock, and it's subtle, but I can see that being they want the inspection in the comfortable space dock versus having to take a travel pod to the dry dock and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just Starfleet can be a bit formal like that. What do you think?
I can see that. I do agree with that somewhat.
It's a bit weird, but I can just
In Star Trek 6, you see them approaching Spacedock in the shuttle.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to say? I can also see the Spacedock being the launching of new ships, get the new ship done in dry dock, or you finish it, throw it in Spacedock after you're done, and then have the whole unveiling, the doors open. You have you've seen it before in fan things where the ships are lined up, and then the new ship flies through them, kind of like a gauntlet. Very ceremonial, but I could see them doing stuff like that as well. Better than the dry dock facilities, which are just like the construction area.
Well, it's scaffolding.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally a scaffolding. Well, that's the thing. You've got Generations, which is the great example. It was, Chateau Picard thrown in dry dock and launched in dry dock.
Yes.
That's not to say there wasn't a pre-ceremony. Like I say, a reveal out of dry dock, out of space dock. For the press reveal where everyone goes outside, takes pictures. But also a different era. I mean, who's to say one isn't the other?
Yeah.
But also, it was cheaper to work with dry dock than the space dock. So, I mean, did they even actually? That's interesting. At what point did they destroy or throw away the interior space dock model? Because I'm assuming they just reused all the clips after they made the movies.
I don't
they
know.
Never used it in TNG. Yeah, exactly. It was huge. Like that thing just to take up space. And to my God, imagine setting that up. Jesus. I mean, just for lighting and.
Yeah, the lighting would be the worst part on that.
And you've got to put secondary elements inside it, which are also going to match lighting. So every ship is going to be
And they also included a mist or a fog to make things in the distance look further away.
God.
Like, it was quite a process to film those interior shots. So.
But I mean, it's an epic sequence in 3. It reveals Enterprise in 4. Never see it again in 5, 6, 7, or it's the same clips.
You see it in 6. They launch right out at full impulse or whatever.
But you don't see the after, just the doors, I think. They just go through the doors.
No, you see that shot you have on screen right now, is it?
No, I don't mean that. I mean the inside. The inside model.
Oh.
Because that thing, that wasn't in 6. Or it was stock footage.
I think you just see the doors and the runway lights.
Yeah, which I think was stock footage from a previous one, I think.
Yeah, it could be.
So I'm just, because those films made, 2.5 years apart? 2 years apart? So you're looking at sort of 7, 8 years, keeping this giant... I mean, it's like over a person's height, the interior. Because one of the first animations I ever did was the interior of Spacedock. It's a very hard thing to get right, because obviously it's... there's depth. Real fog depth, just from it being so giant. It's tricky to do.
Ozzy Medeiros, $5. Kirk, if you do this, you'll never sit in the captain's chair again. Indeed.
Star Trek 3, man. So much Star Trek came from it. It gets so overshadowed by everything else.
That's why I love that movie so much. There's so many new ships, so much new tech, so much new cool shit to see.
And don't call me tiny. I mean, there's so many. It just gets overlooked,
Yeah.
Excelsior,
Sergeant.
Bird of Prey, so many good things.
Yep. Sergeant Roadkill, £5.
Thank you.
Nothing helps a dramatic reveal like a massive pair of doors. Well, or a red curtain.
I mean, put a red holographic curtain on the doors. There you go.
Oh, that's so fancy.
They even shimmer in the holographic wind as well. Dear me.
Tear through it. Make it like paper so you can tear through ship like all the sporting events.
The mascot is the Federation Delta. It's Badgie, but the good version because he's been adopted by Starfleet.
Badgie with a cape flies through it. And then the ship's right behind him.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Badgie. Interested in new Enterprise? Oh, everybody! It's like, Jesus Christ, Badgie.
What does F stand for? Fantastic, futuristic, fascinating.
What else do you think, man? Fuck you. What? Nothing. Badgie. Be good. Yes.
But
I really hope we see the size of this. I really hope we see the size, like a definitive kind of sense. I want to know.
I wonder if this will be what I talked about yesterday with the museum, where the shot of museum. I said it would be cool if we saw like the other starbase, and then you pan over to the museum. This could be all like one kind of shot. It starts like this. You see the celebrations. You pan over to the museum.
Oh, like they happen to get back to Earth on a special day, and rather than going to the center of the action, they're going to the old museum.
Yeah.
The new ships are here.
Because nobody
We're
will
going
be there
there
because everybody's focused on the celebrations, so they can steal what they need to steal or do what they need to do.
And we know that dock is you can steal Enterprise on that dock. Done before.
Yeah.
Will happen again.
But
no,
yeah. So I
yeah.
was just gonna say I really appreciate the new pods that are on the new one though. Like they'd probably be like office complexes, I would think. You know, when administrative.
I disagree. I think for the most part they're full hangar bay doors to smaller ships. And
it could be.
And honestly, dedicated bays. You know, one could be for, you know, the science branch, the tactical branch. Dedicate. You know, one's filled torpedoes, one's filled whatever. I mean, I'm sure obviously, like I say, I'm sure that all of the towers are office blocks. That's kind of what we knew. But then Lower Deck literally showed us a guy in the office block, which was like, oh yes, this is what it looks like.
One amigo in his office was one of those spires.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it, but the scale's too hard to comprehend. So it you know, and that's great. You know, especially if. Well, question to you: is Starfleet division headquarters safe? Any division safer on the ground or on the station?
That's
Because
good question.
Because if like Starfleet, not medical, but if Starfleet, you know, engineering core says, you know what, we want to put our headquarters up there on one of the sub pods. You put all the engineering ships in there. You have the offices in the top. It's beamable distance to everything else. Nice and focused, and you know, really really shieldable. I'm assuming each of those pods has dedicated shields. The giant station has shields. You know, this thing should be. I mean, I would assume this thing has enough shield power to protect against almost anything. You probably
I would imagine it have very strong shielding for sure. If it didn't have massive weapons.
Ooh, Trek culture. Ah,
I know. I was going to read that in a second. Trek culture says, didn't Starbase 1 in Disco have those bubbles? When they were constructing it during the Klingon War?
No, there's different. There's Earth Spacedock and Starbase 1, and they're right. Starbase 1 is the one we saw. Yes, but do you remember the story behind that?
Yes.
Tell us the story, Stuart, because it's
Well, they wanted to preserve like the natural forests and stuff, so they sent them out to space. It's from another sci-fi movie as well. So they're all under domes. So there's like eco habitats under the domes, as kind of like a part of Earth, you know. So
it's not quite an intentional. Let's build a giant space station with bubbles. It's a case of there's 5 forests. We want to rescue them and put them next to Jupiter, I guess, is where it was, or somewhere close, and then a space station in the middle. So it's very, very different sort of situation. But that was also a link to the Jeffries style, the TOS one from the book. So that's all, which is great. But that was a far less functional. That said, far more delightful to meet, to go to.
And that wasn't in Discovery. That was in
Strange New Worlds. Yeah. Well, there was that was JJ. I mean, you know, all of them sort of linked back because it's the TOS era. But it makes sense. I mean, it's an easy visual. You know, if it was just the middle bit, it would feel like a copycat. We just changed from the shapes. So that gives it a multifaceted feel. And like I say, I love the idea of Picard says Picard hasn't seen the thing for years because he's not ever focused on. He's never been there, and so Riker says, "Oh, we're going to Earth Spacedock." "Oh, I've not been there for a long time." "Yes, we're going to Pod 7. "Okay." As they get closer,
okay,
doesn't mean anything to him, and they get closer, and he's like, "How far away is it?" "Oh, it's far away." "Oh, is that big?" "Yes." As they get close to it, they're saying, each one of these pods, John Luke, is the size of Earth Spacedock from our time. "Oh, right." And we go to one of them. Yes, that's the engineering pod, with only engineers. Well, damn.
Hey, Geordi.
Yeah, well, yeah. Geordie's office is 3rd from the top. Yeah, but I like that's like it's so giant that it subdivides so well, or even one has tactical development, one has whatever. Yeah, exactly.
The only departments that have to deal with the ships should be in Spacedock. Starfleet headquarters would still be planetside. Don't see them moving Starfleet Academy in space. No, they wouldn't have the headquarters or academy on this. They'd have those on Earth. But he's talking about, I think when he asked the question, you're talking about like Starfleet Medical,
Engineer Corps,
Section 31,
the Marine Corps.
Yeah, are the main headquarters on Earth? Yeah, I would think so. Would be the best answer on it.
Any places that involve more civilian-esque people, and I include cadets because they just came from a civilian mindset, and headquarters, which can have a lot of civilians from other worlds, etc. This is a Starfleet installation, and if it's all there, protected, versus the Spacedock, which kind of felt like the testament to our technical ability to build. And we've got some offices, a big ass parking lot, and a big ass shield generator and power generator. It's straightforward. This is now able to be developed further, which I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know what else to talk about with the station necessarily. I'm sure we'll make them with a few things if you guys let us know what's on your minds. But we should look at some of these ships in the fleet, because I've seen some interesting things here, as much as I can see with the pixels.
Let's look on the left then.
To the left, to the left.
And I will zoom the hell in.
While we're doing that, 103 people here, 75 likes. That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Let's get to 100 likes. You can do it. Hit that like button if you haven't. Chris, I'm looking at you.
And also,
culture, not liking Trekyard stuff. I get it. I see how it is.
The poll, though, with 126 votes in 30 minutes, I asked the question: Earth, Spacedock, old, new, or both? I'm very happy with the results here. The winner is both for different reasons. And the new one, 35%, and old one, 22%. So they're pretty split, but with a general leaning to both. And I would be on the both camp as well.
I would too.
I do hope Stowe makes it, because it's a cool station. We're making a poll.
Chris Jackson, medical, yes. Section 31, they will never tell anyone. Well, Section 31 is easy to find. It's the only pod that's painted all black. Yeah, we have 5 pods on this station. 6. We have 6, sir. No, we only have 5 pods on this station.
And he pulls a gun out, points to his head. 5 pods.
Black doesn't exist in space.
Well, there is that almost invisible ink, like invisible paint black. So maybe, every time any ship,
the true black is there's no light.
Any ship any time it points at the stars, it's entirely gone. Planet is visible, but people look up. So.
Yeah.
What a stupid storyline. Anyway.
So we'll have a new poll in just a second, you guys. But hit that like button if you haven't already. Keep the super chats coming. You guys are really helping out. Identifying these ships is going to be fun because low resolution, and we got what do you say? Pixel
peeping.
Pixel peeping them. I love how
it's a game term.
I know, but people in the effects industry calls other things pixel fucking too. So pixel fuck it. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna see if we can get some information from these really low resolutions.
Burns, because you want a central station. You need a central command post. There's going to be lots of individual stations. This is of this single ilk. Now, this is such a big image. We have to break up into quadrants. So we'll do the top left.
Okay.
And it's so big, I've taken out your face. Right, so this is above the station to the left, as you say. Right, what do we see here?
I see a Galaxy class.
You see a Ross class.
Oh, it is a Ross class. You're right. This is the struts.
I see many, many Lunars. Or Akiras, or both. I mean, they've got almost the exact same profile from the front. I would say the ones with the toppest blue and the middle 3 are all either Lunars or Akiras.
Okay. This is actually harder than I thought. Some of them look like Romulan ships. Romulan original bird of prey.
I'd say the bottom 2 are Zhenheis, based on how thin the nacelles are. Kind of slicey. That'd be my guess.
Possibly, yeah.
Because it's not or sovereign. Just a weird angle. At least that bottom 2 one. I mean, really, they're all very similar profiles. You can kind of tell there's many repeats. Because we know they have the fleet from season 2, so it's likely they're all going to be that fleet, right? With including the Stargazer and Stargazer variant, the half Stargazer, because it's done and it's there. Yeah. So But that said, now we know they've got a constellation and a bird of prey, and there's, they necessarily shouldn't be in the Pride of fleet, but they do exist. The models,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, lower left quadrant, you can definitely see a sovereign. And looks like a Defiant class or
Oh,
two.
Brandon, good to see you. Doug designed this one? Brandon, you worked on the new track? I didn't know that.
Ooh, Doug.
What?
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 But he's
Well,
in
that's
his
cool.
later guys. He dropped in and
I know.
left nugget of knowledge and then left. How rude.
How rude. Well, that's great though. Welcome back to Trek thing. That's I would have had you long ago. If we were doing
Galaxy class doesn't seem to be around anymore. Phased out like the colony in the 23rd century. I just think the Ross class is like the refit Galaxy
well,
class.
they're very different. Like very, very different. They're almost as different as the refit is to the colony. Like they'd be an entirely different body at that point.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I think there'd be fresh build.
That's fine. Do you want to go to the lower left quadrant?
Sure.
Like I said, you can see a few sovereign classes in that one, for sure.
Well, there's a lot of an odd profile. That there's 4 cluster which are all upslung nacelles. Looks very pointy.
I mean, they almost look Romulan.
Yeah, they're probably Genhays given the pointy front, but unhelpful.
Mm.
Where are you seeing sovereigns?
There's 2 on the left, not the far left.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
And there's one right underneath the Romulan ones we were just talking about. Looks like could be.
Yeah, it's weird because the reds of the Basards and everything is so different between every ship.
Yeah.
Like the Sovereigns look entirely unlit, but the ones next to them are entirely lit. It's like,
yeah.
What? Why? What?
Now it looks like a Defiant there.
Oh, I can't imagine you'd see a Defiant though. That scale wise, unless they're radically closer.
Oh, it looks like it might be a Defiant.
Yeah, I agree, but boy, they're radically smaller, like I say, than yeah. See, Chris's galaxies likely to make sense anymore. I mean, the Miranda's around for 100 years, as with the Excelsiors. The galaxies, of course, would make sense. I don't like none of this stuff's going to get broken down. I mean, the Galaxy class are going to be capable for a very long time. I wouldn't mind seeing one in the 26th century, honestly. As in, like it's just doing its thing. It's muddling around. But why would they be retired after 40 years when the refits were? Connie was, we're getting old at 40 years to retire, but it's far smaller, far less advanced, and like I say, Mirandas and refits and whatever. Like all the old ships, you could say they got destroyed in the Dominion War. And they didn't build new ones. That's fine. Or it did, but they wouldn't get retired for a very long time.
The Orion says Gagarin on the far left center. That looks like the Gagarin's huge Bizards. I doubt they'll have a Gagarin class. That's Discovery.
Well, but the Stowe version they've already put in season 2, so they've already chosen to utilize that version.
Okay, yeah, for the Stowe version, yes.
Yeah, that is great. And Burnsy says a lot of copy and paste going on. Yes, but it's a variety of shapes. And you aren't meant to watch this episode this close to your television, looking at the corner left. So this is not the ideal way of watching this episode. So therefore, but at least you can see, yes, there might be 4 identical ships in a row, fine, but the rest of it's relatively varied in shapes.
Chris Jackson says, I watched the Ross class breakdown on Trek Culture last night at work. And Trek Culture says, we have a Ross class video?
Yeah, did they?
I don't know. I hadn't seen one, so I was confused by that. Thank God Trek Culture commented that, because I was like, what? They're taking our jobs. They're doing our ships now. Unless Chris meant watch it on Trekyards.
Yes, there isn't one Trek Culture.
Have we done a Ross class?
Let's look. There's Truth or Myth from 7 months ago, Stowe 2 years ago, Trek Central 6 days ago, which must be what they're explaining.
Trek Central is probably what they're talking about.
I had it prepped, but we never did it because there was enough with everything else to talk about. Yeah.
It's one that's been added to the pile if we need to talk about at some point. We'll get to it
Yes.
because there's a lot of those.
Yes.
And more on the way with this season. I bet you.
And even just comparing to old models, seeing if they are the old models, you know, from Picard Season 2, when I could literally match the lighting of their shots with my shots, because the same damn model. That was fun. Didn't take very long at all.
Now you want to go to the lower right quadrant or the upper right quadrant next?
Neither.
Perfect.
Upper right.
Upper right?
Yes.
Oh, the most boring of the quadrants. Okay.
In fact, that's an Akira, the first one on the left.
What are those? What are the ones with all blue?
I mean, they look like Lunar class, but why blue?
It's quite a distinct shape. It's like three cylinders almost, but
Which is a Lunar, lower, because they're defected as a saucer, or at least the ilk. I mean, it could be an Andorian ship. I mean, who's to say they don't break out an alien class? But there's, 6 of them or something, so that's quite a few.
another Ross class for sure. I think I see another Defiant or two. Steamer? Is there a steam runner?
I see a Sovereign down on the left. I mean, these things are literally, 20 pixels wide. But I'd say there's, 1, 2, 3, 4 silhouettes of ships. There's not that many.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which is funny because if you go to the lower right quadrant, there's X-wings. I mean, stargazers. They're either stargazers or they look a lot like the the Baran from Discovery. From this distance, they just kind of look like the Baran.
Yeah, definitely.
I guarantee.
Huh.
I'd say they're stargazers.
I mean, they probably are, but it looks like there's a ball. Looks like the front's a ball, which is not
It
stargazers.
does. Yeah, it's another weird looking.
And green, slightly green, tinted green. Oh, that's weird.
Oh my god, it's the bird.
I mean, so many of these ships look like the warp deltas from Enterprise with the pointy front and the two bright facades.
Yeah.
So many of them. I keep seeing them. But they can't be, but I'm seeing them.
Yeah.
Definitely a Sovereign in the middle. I'm actually shocked how few Stargazers there are, actually, considering that's their big, bold ship. Because if you put, 5 Stargazer starships in the same scene, you shouldn't have people saying, oh, it's a Stargazer. Well, which one? There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Also, it's true, there is a new poll, by the way.
Oh, yes, there was. I didn't read that out. Okay.
No,
Sorry.
didn't. That's okay.
What ships do you most want to see in Picard Season 3? The Intrepid class, the Norway class, the Nova class, or the Nebula class?
If you had to pick one, what would you say?
Out of all these, wouldn't mind seeing the Nebula class again.
Intrepid for me.
Yeah, and now to read the comment that made me read the poll. Damon, I see Intrepids maybe. I would be upset if there were no Intrepids represented for sure. Trekkernaut says Prometheus class for the Fornaceld one. Oh, could be.
I mean, they should definitely be around.
Yeah. It could be. First thing that popped into my head though was the Baran from Discovery, unfortunately, and then I was like, no, it's got to be the Stargazer. But you're right; it could be Prometheus class.
But again, you would see the red glows and the blue glows because in the Sovereign, right in the middle, you can see the blue and the red.
Yeah.
There's no blue and red on those ships at all. You think you'd see some. Now, I'm fine with being alien ships. I mean, this might be a Frontier Day, like maybe. What if Frontier Day celebrates a new? Yeah. What if Frontier Day celebrates a new ship joining the Federation? It happens so infrequently. There's only 57 worlds, so it's pretty infrequent. And then ships from that race are coming in, so that would be quite a memorable thing. So here's our fleet, here's your fleet. That would explain the alternate shapes.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of classy.
Trek Culture says Terry Vitalis said today, definitely no Janeway, but
Mm-hmm.
there are other Voyagers around.
Yes, his
No,
wordage was there. Yeah.
there are other Intrepids around, but
No, he said no. It means people from Voyager, but he's calling them Voyagers, which is quite clever. Yeah. But I mean, you're not gonna only have Jerry Ryan 7. You're gonna have either EMH or Paris or Chakotay or two. Not Prompt Chakotay, but
or
Tuvok.
Kim, Captain Kim.
See Kim. I mean, Kim's the obvious. If you're gonna go full fan wank, like,
Yep.
and he's a good actor when he's given stuff.
Let's give him a friggin' promotion and do it in the grand way possible.
Yep.
Return of the TNG cast season.
Well, yeah, especially as that's from the other alternate future. But certainly, yeah, Captain Kim warping in. He still looks great. I mean, I don't know if he dyes his hair, good old Garrett, but I mean, he still just looks like an older Kim versus a old man Kim. He hasn't crossed that line yet. Whereas like Robert McNeil, he's put on quite a lot of weight. Tim Russ has gone very grey. Obviously, he could dye it, but very grey. Well, I'd love to see Tuvok back. That's what I said in our previous in the previous thing.
Trek Culture. We want the Doctor and in Picard and Disco.
I would agree.
I would also agree with that.
32nd century.
Yep.
And if anything, it's not the Doctor, it's the guy from the Delta Quadrant who came back. Like, they find that EMH who had his own life, which then lets you play an entire different version of the character, which creatively is just blowing your mind of cool. Another EMH pops in.
See, when I interviewed him at London Comic Con this year, he said that he hadn't been asked, but they can lie. So.
Well, he said he was in it 2 years ago, as we know. So.
Oh, when I asked him, he said they haven't approached me about it. They haven't been asked.
I'm sure he was told off.
But I would be down for it. So.
Because
that was his response to me.
Because that's the irony, is that, if you've been hired because they want the EMH, they can't fire you, really. Like, if Jerry said something really horrible, it's hard to fire her if she's that integral to the plot, or any of the TNG cast. Like, they're all going to be rehired without, I mean, if they spoil something that horrible for the plot. Like, you can't fire Riker to never come back and play Riker. It doesn't kind of work if it's for spoilers. So if Rob Picardo, just being chill, says it out loud, whoops. I mean, he's not going to not hired as they want him for that reason. He's iconic, so. But he would get trouble.
Yeah.
Just don't say it again.
Charlie Anthony, £2.
Thank you.
All hail the Empire. Okay. Sergeant Roadkill, £2. Keep the Eternal Ensign and Ensign.
Aww.
No. If they do it in a fun way, like in Lower Decks or something. But Eric Martin throws in $5. Good to see Eric. 13 days. Can't wait. Lieutenant Kim would be nice too. Lieutenant Kim. Yeah, any kind of promotion on Kim. Yeah, he wasn't asked. He was kidnapped, I hope. Says Trek Culture. Fair enough, but...
Alright, just going to back in 1 second, is what I'm trying to say.
What he said. We're all over 100 likes, guys. That's awesome. Let's try to get to 120 likes now. Another 14 is all we need, so keep that up. We're about the halfway mark, and we're almost at halfway to our minimum for Alive. So if you guys can super chat in, we'd really appreciate it. We need at least another $30 to get to our half of our minimum. So if you can help us out in that way, that would be greatly appreciated. And no new members this live, so if you want to consider joining the channel, hit that join button as well. But yeah, seeing Harry Kim again is almost guaranteed at some point.
I mean, that could be said for anybody if they were smart. But I imagine that given that Terry did say Prodigy had Janeway, hence no Janeway, which makes sense. I mean, if she's the hero of your tale and you want to do some big character development in one season, it'd be weird to then put in this season in the future. Like, you've now said she doesn't die, she doesn't age, you then set these criteria. But if you say, well, we're not going to use these 3 characters, go for it. Or they might appear in season 4 of Prodigy if we ever get one. So I can imagine for certain there'll be no Chakotay, no Janeway, if they're going by that logic.
Yeah.
And we know that they couldn't use lower deck ships, they were told not to. So there's definitely a lot of it's like, I know that Prodigy wanted to mention Rutherford, but they couldn't because he has plans, and therefore, no, thank you. Don't mess up. Don't put a canon point in the future that now we have to link to. Versus that's our story, our character, because they're timeline events, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. And I always kind of speculated that this was the case, but now that Trek Culture has hit 250,000 subscribers, they got a big head, because Trek Culture just commented and said, "A like from us is worth 5 likes." So
that's very impressive. I mean, that's. Could you go on like all of our videos then? I mean, that would be great.
Yes, that would be awesome.
I mean, talk about, if you do that on 1,000 videos, a 5,000 like spike, be impressive. That'd be
great. Garuda 3 throws in £5. Great show as always, guys. Watched the ship museum video earlier. Loved it. Enjoyable stuff. Well, thank you so much. If you haven't checked out the live about the museum, check that out, because we actually suss out some more ships, what they might be. So. A Metallica fan 1442 throws in £5. I'd love to see the EMH in Disco, but they seem to be ignoring legacy stuff from past shows to create new galactic threats every season. Yeah, I'm fine if they just kind of just detach themselves from everything at this point. To be fair, we don't need to muddle things up. Ooh, and Trek Culture is like touche. Trek or not, celebrating slipstream drive tech. Maybe new ships are slipstream capable and hence more blue.
Why does everyone want slipstream, man? Why does everyone want slipstream? It bugs me.
That's one of the things that frustrate you. Like other things frustrate me.
Yeah, like it's fine. Just if once you give every ship ability to do everything, it's less interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's like if ships genuinely were, like Doug said, by the J time, everything was intergalactic. It's like, well, then you've got to build threats that are enormously bigger than that. I know Doug always says that tech stood still for TNG, but it's like, yes, it's relatable and developable. You're not gonna have new and radical jumps every couple of years. TNG could do that because it jumped radically 100 years. But if you're staying only a few years, if between the start of TNG to the end of TNG you could then cross the entire galaxy in a day, well, all wars now from then on are different. Even the Temporal Cold War stuff is so confused on purpose because they give real rules to it. It's like, well, how does that work or not work, etc.
Yeah. It does take away a lot of the this is dangerous.
And then you've got to have a threat from outside the galaxy that has like insane power levels, and then you just keep upping. Versus if you just iterate on the ability set. It's like if you had a holographic crew, and that'd be okay. It's like, well, now our crew are dying off screen or on screen. It doesn't matter, holograms, no one cares. Like there's things, there's narrative things that goes from sci-fi to sci-fi to sci-fi. Yes.
Well, Sergeant Roadkill says too many STO players, which is why it's slipstream. Yeah,
that's fair. Or Vesta lovers. I get it.
DB Max says maybe Kim got the Enterprise F. Wouldn't that be quite a promotion? That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
I said that last time. Yeah,
100%.
I mean, especially if he came back from Delta Quadrant having got an instant promotion lieutenant. He wanted to say, I want to be in bloody command of a ship. He got commander very quickly. Mr. Go-Getter, I could see him pushing, of all the people in Starfleet, any Voyager crew member is going to have a better chance at any station they want to. Because they can say, we did more than any of you did. Not in a bragging way, because it was life or death every week. But I survived a Borg Armada several times because the writer said I did. Versus, TNG, every ship got killed except the Enterprise turned up late. That's what normal people fight the Borg. We fought 10 cubes and won. So,
Yeah.
Voyager seems real unimpressive when you say it like that.
Landsat says, sorry, but Trekyards is better than Trek Culture.
Oh, what?
We need more people like you, Landsat.
Oh.
And Terracon says that's an ape brain limiting you. No. Let's see. Tuvok, Paris, and B'Elanna would be good to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see B'Elanna in season 2 of Prodigy.
Yes, that's a better fit.
That would be good.
She's an engineer of the.
Yeah.
Tuvok works for this though, I think, because you know, Tuvok and Seven have a very interesting relationship, especially if, as you know, I mean, I want to know, did Tuvok's wife's. I don't know. They did say, I think, did they say in the show that his wife did stay faithful and not remarry, and he was going back to
Whose
her.
wife?
Tuvok's wife. Because they got
believe so,
communication after 4 years, which is obviously a long time.
Yeah.
And Vulcans live very, very long times. I feel like she mentioned the wife. I'm gonna Google Tuvok's wife because I'd love to see T'Pel. Okay, so I'd love to know, like, you know, they made it back and they were okay. And
ooh, I like that idea, Sergeant Overkill. It's like Trek fight between Trekyards and Trek culture, or join Drunkyards culture where you can have a drink off. I would love that. A test of a trivia quiz by you guys.
Oh goodness.
And, anyway, but you know what's even better is an ad, because this is ad time apparently. There you
go. Or you know, get Chris and Sean on here for Drunkyards. Just drink. Also, Tuvok's been married to his wife for 100 years. Has been married to his wife for 100 years in Picard season 3.
Nice.
Yeah, I think she'll not more. I think she won't move on if we were to spend for 4 years. They've been married for 70 years at that point, 80 years. Jesus. Vulcans are old, man.
Yeah. Trek culture says we're not here to fight, we're here to love. And Burnsy3210 says, I'm only subscribed to Trekyards. The hosts are more handsome. Hashtag not sorry.
Thanks.
Aw. Let's see. Can we be here to drink instead? That'd be great. Eric Martin, $10. Just because I can. What happened to the threat at the end of Picard season 2?
Go away. No, shut up.
This is 3 years later. It might be mentioned in dialogue, honestly, because it's 3 years later, but I somewhat doubt it. You're not going to see Borgatti, whatever her name was, and yeah, that's a threat that's on station keeping for a future time. Would be my guess. Metallica fan 1442 throws in £2. Trekyards is definitely better than Trek culture. Ooh, we're starting a war now. Trek culture. Sorry, hope you don't feel like you're getting teamed up on in the chat there.
Still researching Tuvok's wife.
Yes, okay. I'm just reading some comments here, trying to pick out some good ones. Speaking of, guys, we had 127 likes. 3 more likes. Let's get to 130. That'd be awesome. Keep the super chats coming. We're just over our halfway for our minimum. So couple more like $20 super chats, $10 ones.
Yes,
would be great.
Absolutely.
Let's get those in there.
So according to the book, she joined him on the Titan. I was a medical assistant, but obviously books are not canon.
Trek culture says, I've told the what app use our talking smack. Hey, we're not. We're just listening to our audience. They're the ones saying it. But we would like to challenge you guys to a quiz off at some point with drinking involved. I think it'd be fun. Tell whoever you need to tell about that. Lancet says, I love both Trekyards and Trek culture, but I'm only subscribed to one, so Trekyards rules. Thanks. Borgatti still sounds like an Italian sports car. Yes, like the Bugatti. Dan Ben says there's a wormhole type thing in the trailer. Is there? Which trailer? The first one? The last one? I don't recall seeing a wormhole type dealie. Eric, Trekyards and Trek culture should settle this with a game of Strategema.
Sorry. That was a reaction. Aren't they in America right now? I thought it was Trek culture lads. I thought they're, because the premiere's in a couple of, there's like a pre-premiere thing now. There's like an event with Frakes and a few people.
I don't know. Probably.
I think Chris is in America, isn't he? But yeah, great station, really solid design. If designed by Doug, awesome. It's that classic element of faithful yet new, and it's not too much, and it's definitely is a thing where you could easily 3D pre-visit. You know, let's cut up this part of the station. Let's put the ball from the bottom up at the top, and that's our ring, and but it all flows. And we have the same Spacedock model, I'm sure. So to kit bash that, and I mean, if you recall, we did also design one of ourselves years ago, a space station with a different inclination. It was actually a smaller one. It was meant to be a frontier outpost, which I actually have the model of still.
Nice, yeah. M. Stark, I want a Trekyards and Trek Culture crossover event. It's happened. Sean Ferrick's been on our channel on a few lives, so kind of happened. We've been in some Trek Culture videos, so I mean, yeah, this definitely happened. Trek Culture will always be a bit. That's turning into Trekyards versus Trek Culture live, so we're the new Starbase. You guys can have. No, wait a minute. Scratch that. We want the museum. We want the old stuff, all the variety of ships. You guys can have the new Starbase. Sam has no comment.
I'll do that. I don't know.
It's a good answer.
I mean, I'm always gonna love the old ones, Stuart. It's classic. It's just such a good shape. And I just annoys me. There's a 3D model I use because the lights are so tiny. Obviously, that they are to render them. Like they fuzz slightly because lighting. You know, if they're like 1 pixel tall, it fuzzes and stuff. And so lighting that thing's a real bitch in Lightwave. Like at any distance. Stills are fine, obviously, but yeah.
M. Stark, glad to be back and watching these lives. Yeah, I noticed you haven't been around for a while. Good to see your name back, but everything's fine. Welcome back.
Merry Christmas, and then maybe had a very full month of Christmas after Christmas.
Maybe.
I mean, if you could celebrate Christmas for an extra month, would you? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably not.
Yes. Now, we see in one of the trailers Titan launches. Is it launched from this space station or the museum? Do you think? Because the bay doors, I remember, look about the same scale proportion as the refit, and while it's bigger than the refit, the D wouldn't fit through that scale of door, if I recall correctly. Okay, it's for one small bays, I suppose.
I guess this will probably launch out of the new one. A lot of people have been saying it's an old ship that they put new engines on, and it's like, or new nacelles on, because of the design styling. But I think it's with the bridge module being the exact. It's contemporary to the Stargazer, which is brand new, and it's also, I think it's been stated by Terry that it's like one of the fastest impulse ships or something.
Yes.
Of the time. So
yeah. It's a mid-range explorer, if I recall correctly, who specifically has extra abilities at impulse, just because that's what they gave it. Like nothing specific, just except it's very, very fast impulse. Yeah.
Hence the large impulse engines.
And many of them.
Yeah. Chris Jackson says, I committed to Trekyards years ago when Captain Foley responded to me when I tried to get a review of Spencer's Enterprise A. Yeah, well.
Yes, that's
long story with that. Yeah.
That's a blast on the butt. You know, we've done this so long, Stuart. That feels like a generation ago. You know?
Yeah.
It's a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the early days, for sure.
But it wasn't even early. You know, it was just...
No, it was like 3 years in.
Yeah.
And Chris, thank you so much for that. He says we're creators that connect with our fan base, and he appreciates that. And we pride ourselves in making sure we read all the super chats and get all your names out there. And even if you don't super chat, we love you guys. We got a good culture, or a good culture. We got a good community, is what I meant to say.
Slightly Freudian slip there, I feel like.
Oh, I was thinking of Trek culture and how
I know you were.
Good one too. So,
let's end this poll though. 125 votes. The question was, which ships do you most want to see in Picard Season 3? Not as big a spread as I thought, but I would agree though. The Intrepid class at 52%, a ship that should definitely not have been out, discontinued. So I would expect to see some. Second place, Nebula, 29%, Nova at 11%, and Norway a fleeting 7%.
Well, you asked me the question. I picked Nebula. What would you pick?
Yeah, Intrepid. Yeah, easily.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
Because, beautiful sets, interior and exterior. Have Harry Kim warp in on the USS Night Star, and it's Intrepid. That's fine. I can imagine he might take an Intrepid if he had the option. He knows it well.
Put Paris at the helm of the Titan A, and Vatic will never catch them. He got away from Species 8472 and the Borg. Yeah. But Paris has already been in Lower Decks, so I'd love to see him come back in live action for sure. But Trek or not, are all the impulse engines not the same speed? LOL, half impulse, full impulse, etc. I think acceleration would be the only variable, but wouldn't thrusters be more important as sublight? Well, they might explain it. We've got an unfilmed script on impulse drives that I worked with Rick Sternbach on, and I'm excited to do that one day because there's quite a few interesting facts in there about impulse.
Because impulse is in my brain, impulse is you're pushing forward, and thrusters can do the work. So I would think you'd want thrusters to be insane, triple the RCS ability, because forwards is great, but impulse engines, they can't do this. That's
vectoring.
Yeah, they can do a little bit, but you can't do a right turn impulse. That's a right turn thrusters. So all that maneuvering is thrusters, not impulse. So I think the impulse is more to get them speed, not maneuverability, because one does not equate the other.
And he points out acceleration. Probably that's the reason for the extra impulse. They can get to full impulse faster than any other ship or something.
And higher full impulse as well. Although you would think, because they have to use thrusters to decelerate, the deceleration rate would suck.
No, you can use the impulse engines to decelerate. Because you can impulse backwards as well. That's something that's in that script I'm talking about, because I asked Rick about that. Is it possible to go do impulse backwards, and how does that work? And he came up with a way to do it.
Right.
Which I put in the script.
So aft thrusters can push you in reverse.
Yep. There's an explanation for it in the script. You haven't seen the script yet.
I feel like you just put front. Yeah, why has no front impulse engines?
Because there's need them. Because
I feel like you should put them in anyway. I feel it'd be logical to add front impulse engines, just small ones. Something.
Hey, we'll have that discussion when we film the episode.
Okay.
Sergeant Roadkill 5 pounds. Going to have to definitely choose Norway for the Indiegogo ship choice after that vote. There you got one Norway class in your fan film, Samuel.
Yes, I like the Norway. I redesigned the Norway, finished it.
Yes, you did.
I really like my Norway.
Yeah. I
redesigned it very much.
Chris Jackson, $5. Trekyards, may the wind always be at your backs. Live long and prosper.
The impulse wins. There you go.
Solar winds. Now we're talking about impulse engines. Yes, Gary Davis, it is thrust vectoring. It's what the F-35 and the Harrier and stuff have. But anywho, let's see, what are we at here? 139 likes, 11 more likes to get to 150. That'd be a good number to end on. We're getting closer to our minimum, but we're still about $80 away. So if we get a few 20s or a 10 or a couple of 5s, help us out. If there's any ships here that you recognize the shape of, what do you want to talk about? There's ships, there's a station.
Yeah, well, anything. This is all about the tech of the whatnot. And James Butler says, well, rocket engines haven't changed much since V2. Yeah, but they're just basically explosives, and they're not meant to do much else apart from go up. There's a lot more finesse in modern stuff, as in modern being future, being Star Trek being modern for us.
Yes.
It's like I always like designing. I said this to someone else recently who likes Discovery a lot because of how dark and gritty the visuals are, because it feels modern and fresh. I'm like, okay, I sort of didn't say much past that because that's fine, good for them. But and I said I like the design box of an era, because if we're able to design things that fit Sovereign era in TMP, then you invalidate the entire era. So if you're in TMP, you can't do loads of things. You're entirely super limited, right? But then you're thinking, well, how do I put phasable turrets in interesting places? How do I, where do I have the docking ports that are innovative? I like working inside a design box because there's a checklist, but not just that. There's a creative, it's fun. You're thinking of an engineer at the time versus I can do anything. Because if you can do anything, then there's no merit to what you do because, okay, I'll make the nacelles 7 times as long and that goes warp 13. It's like, well, you know what I mean? Like, I like the design box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, any TOS ship is difficult because there's so little you can do in TOS, and that's why I have to be creative. That's why Bill, your friend, Bill Krause, he genius-advised that, right? He developed that super well because he thought in the box, but then sort of made the box sideways into a diamond and then worked in the diamond, Very clever.
Eric Martin, I bet the museum has a hell of a gift shop. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe that's where young Jean-Luc Picard got his NX-01 refit model. Dun, dun, dun. Ships get upgraded often. Why wouldn't they update the stations accordingly, like bigger doors? Because we talked about this in our Spacedock episode. You can't just upsize the size of the doors in Spacedock. There's a lot of offices and rooms beside the doors. If you look at, you can't just cut a bigger hole out. And then the ship takes up the whole massive interior. Doesn't quite work that way.
Well, not just that, but the internal volume is designed for those ships in mind. So just because you can get it through the door, it doesn't mean there's enough space for it to maneuver. Like, everything's in unison. If we started building cars 40% bigger, then all of a sudden car parking spaces wouldn't fit it, and roads would not be able to do 2 at a time, and all the older roads, as in before your country existed, Stuart, all those roads that were designed for horse and carriages, it literally wouldn't do anything. So then you have to build new roads to fit the new cars, which people decide to do. That's all part of the same process. Now, yes, you could in theory break one of the 4 doors of the Spacedock, but then it would look insanely out of proportion. Because, of course, you're basically killing an entire chunk of the hull. That's why it must be a new Spacedock, because it's just functionally and whatever. But that's why it's easy to work out the new scale, because if you know the scale of the original door and match it with the D, it's super easy to work out within not a huge margin.
It's super easy.
Oh, sure, no. Oh, sure, no. Oh.
What's wrong? Sean. Oh, Sean says he's super disappointed in you. Oh, well. What do you mean me, y'all? Not us.
Sean, come on. Jump on Skype.
Nice.
Chris, tell Sean to jump on Skype and he can yell at everybody. Special guest star.
Did you put forward our ideas of a trivia quiz between Trekyards and Trek culture? I'd be down for this. I'm just saying.
We all know different things, though. I'm terrible at episode real people.
It's got to be a mix. I
get it. I get it.
And it could be dictated by super chat questions.
Well, it's funny. It's like we did that quiz last time, and it's like I know so many 3D model questions that you wouldn't know. There's no way you know. How could you know? Yeah. But it's not about what question I can ask. It's about, for example, Stuart. Let me ask you and the live a question. A real question, guys. Do you remember the space station in Voyager, the one that was a catapult that was meant to take Voyager across the galaxy? The guy goes, leaves the catapult, and then something else dramatic happens. They may or may not use it, can't remember. But do you remember that episode, Stuart?
Yes.
What iconic piece of modelling history from Star Trek is included in the physical build of that? There was Tusk's catapult, something like that. What physical geometry from a very famous Trek thing was included to save money and time?
DS9.
DS9 what?
One of the arms.
Oh, okay. Well, that's your answer. Anyone else have some answers? Because you can see it. I mean, it is there, but it's 480p mid. Whatever.
I'm just trying to picture it. I can picture the silhouette of the thing in my mind because it's on one of my screensavers.
Yeah.
But I'm just.
Because I know, because I've seen the model. Well, I've seen renders of the model. Wait, do I actually have the model? Is that the one I have? I know I don't have the space plane thing because that's gone. Yeah, answers in the chat, guys. Answers in the chat.
Chris Jackson says someone did an update video showing the Enterprise D docking outside the space dock before the Binars stole her.
Cool. Let's see. So I must have it because I know the answer. Yeah, there it is. Task catapult.
Here, Mixon's craziest theory says K7. In response to your question.
Are you? Yeah. See, once I show it, well, I'll show it. So everyone's got an answer, right? Let me show it, which I have a render of. So of course I do. I know everyone kind of look at it, but like just first reaction. Oh, that's a very small version of it. Everyone first reaction it, because obviously it is there. Like you can see it, but I actually quite like this station. I love the simplicity of some of the Voyager models because obviously it was the 90s and there wasn't a hero ship. But the shapes are really good, There's a nice logic behind it. And the old classic putting a beam, just a beam that goes below. It has detail, but it's like a 12 polygon ring, etc.
Oh, I know. I see what.
Well, don't say it if you see it. I'll give everyone one more minute. What element has been reused here? So you have K7. DS9 pylon, which is Chris said, do you think it's the phasers that well, they're not hand phasers. The flew from TNG.
I see a few things actually.
Well, is the ops model. See, they didn't build a DS9 model until the last episode of DS9. So I know you guys don't know that, but if you do know, like it's public knowledge, there's no K7 3D model ever until they made it for calendars and such.
I want to answer.
Stuart, what's the answer to my question?
There's some regular one in there, and there's also spires on the bottom, which are probably from Earth Spacedock.
Possibly. I mean, there was no Earth Spacedock model built.
And I also see like Relay Station 47 or Relay Probe in the middle there, maybe.
No, the answer, Stuart, is in the Delta Quadrant for this multi-spatial conduit. Two of the emitters are Klingon bird of prey turrets.
Oh, at the top?
Yes.
And the bottom. Wow. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So that's what they did to detail this thing is I lost it.
That's funny.
Oh, can I reset this? Ooh, okay. I have to kill that. But yeah. I mean, it's so low resolution and it's such a good detail.
That's awesome.
And who's going to notice? But they look like emitters if you do that. Because they had built a bird of prey for DS9, so that did exist. And yeah. So there you go. The cannons of the Tosk station. Go back and watch it. You can totally see them. Is Klingon bird of prey.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, because not a lot of people would know that.
Yeah.
Nobody probably in this chat knew that.
Yeah. Like I say, that's the sort of question that's like, it's really obvious once you see it. But why the hell would you look to find it?
Yeah.
Why would you? And that's fine.
But who has the assets to look to find it?
Well, no, it's in the episode. Like I say, you can see it in the episode. But why would you look at the top of the emitters specifically in one episode? Like it's let me see if I can find the episode.
And good tea, nice house.
Is it Voyager Conspiracy?
$5.
Oh, thank you.
It says the museum wouldn't be complete without a disco shuttlecraft. Yeah, somebody mentioned that yesterday.
Yes.
Most reliable and versatile ship in all of Starfleet history. Yep.
Oh, that's right. It was Voyager Conspiracy. I thought it was. Right, let me find a shot from the show because you can see it. Like I said, it is entirely there.
And Trek Culture, no, it's not an automated repair station.
No.
It is a slingshot.
Yes. It's a good episode, and it leads to Seven being super conspiracy and what's the word? When you're paranoid, thank you. Yeah, it's a really creative episode, actually, I think, and it recontextualizes. Like, they show clips from Endgame. No, that'd be impossible. Show shots from Caretaker, and also the idea that somebody at the last second, a cloak ship stole the power core out of Caretaker. Why the hell were they at Caretaker? Why the hell? Like, crazy shit. It's insane.
Smash Rocket says those shuttles are the cockroaches of modern Star Trek.
But in fairness, have not been used for a while. Except in Picard Season 2, when, remember, that one that dropped him, was the one that dropped him off, you noticed, wasn't that
that was, it was in Picard Chateau. Yeah.
Like, episode 1, it was like, oh. Like, it's black, like, it's hard to see, but...
Very hard to see, but you can tell what it is.
Yeah. Alright, so this is the shot from the episode. And in fact, it's almost clearer than my shot. Almost. So, that is... There we go. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. So this is the Graviton catapult. And you can see right at the bottom, I mean, they're not even close to hiding it. But again, why would you look? There it is.
It's pretty awesome.
Yep. Well, now I want a refund. Manny the keen eyes. Yeah, I mean, I was, yeah. But it's such an iconic shape, you know. And it's funny, my modelling team has rebuilt that a couple of times, because every time you do a Klingon ship, I'm like, no, it's fine, use that gun. It's great. It's fine. It's iconic. It's the gun. It's all good.
That's great.
But that's just me. And we know Klingons don't change their weapons.
They don't change anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it with the Klingons.
If it is broke, repair it. Because they don't want to, like, but not fully fix, just a bit.
E.R. Mixon's craziest theory says the museum needs a Suliban cell ship.
Ooh. Yes. Sure.
But yeah. Let's see. One more like to get to 150.
Yes. We're so close. So close.
And as for the super chat goal, we are like $70 away. Might not get there today, but that's okay. Super chat, and if you're able to help out.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. Good station. Excited. I mean, I hope we see it several times. Clearly, it's in a big important scene. Probably be also at the Titans launch if it's different. Hopefully, we'll see the inside and it'll look like Star Trek 3 but bigger. And it's their chance to own Sovereigns and, you know, show the scale of it, show the scale of modern Starfleet as well. Especially if Patrick and Picard haven't been to modern Trek architecture, so to see this would be very impressive for him. And Riker, who presumably maybe even grabbed his Gen Hay from here, possibly, he could be very old hat with it by this point.
Darth Eddie, the best ever reuse of a Klingon ship part for a prop is the neural generator McCoy used in Chekhov in Star Trek 4. It's actually one of the model kit parts, yeah.
Well, damn. They were builders and clever people back then.
Hell yeah.
I wonder how dark the interior is. Oh, we've already seen the interior. It's real dark. As it should be, though. I mean, you know, something that giant would be quite hard to light anyway. Without just giant spotlights. Which is okay. Ooh, Franklin. Yeah, I would agree. And you would think the Franklin model exists, obviously. Go get it. I don't, you know, stop this whole licensing issue. It's like, you all own Star Trek. Like, yes.
Sergeant Roadkill throws in £7. Thank you so much. Rounding up as I've missed some lives. Well, we appreciate the roundup. And why are you missing lives, man? That goes against the contract you signed when you joined. Thank you for coming back.
That's yeah. But I mean, you know, $11 more and we'll be fine. 11, and then we'll get to a nice number. Pretty close.
Yeah, 11's a good number.
Any plans this weekend, Stuart? What are you up to?
A whole bunch of nothing.
Well, I mean, is that good though? I mean, you kind of, I want some pause.
I gotta finish a model, and I got to do some other stuff. So it's just hanging around the house. I'm gonna be shoveling snow. It's snowed all day today, but I'm not gonna shovel it very well because by Tuesday next week it's supposed to be like 6 degrees above freezing. So it'll all melt anyway. But
is it the sort of temperature that you couldn't put like boiling water on and start burning stuff? It's just too much to do.
No.
Could you put like a heater out there on the driveway and melt it, like a little portable heater, like a little fan heater? Would that work? On the shoveling?
That would probably do fire and short circuiting.
But not like, I mean, you're holding it like you just use like a lantern, just like to melt it.
You could. It would take a while, but you could do it. Yeah. Because we got like this much snow, so. Yeah.
But surely snow needs a very small radius of temperature to survive. So if you have a blaring heater, I don't know. Just occurred to me.
People have heated driveways.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds just so posh. I can imagine just you would actively go outside barefoot, wouldn't you? It's snowing, barefoot. Just I'm loving my life. Like, my feet are so like.
Just stand out on your heated driveway with no shoes on. Have it with a cup of coffee in your house coat, watching everybody else shovel and snow blow their driveways.
Yep. Like,
how's it going, guys?
Full winter coat, hat, scarf, no shoes, coffee. Exactly. Or if you're a lady, like go even further, like dressing gown with lovely like painted nails, like really show off. Like, oh, I am not worried about going outside. I am happy as all can be. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah,
that'd be funny.
It's just gonna be a relaxing weekend for me. How about you?
Good. I'm doing both work and my own film because I need to release that before Picard starts. Otherwise, it'll get drowned out by Picard. Not to say it'll get loads of views, but it'll be drowned out by Picard. So, gotta release that. I spent yesterday at least. I mean, I sort of do my work and then sort of 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. I do my stuff if I can. Whatever. I was doing some very intricate AI trickery to make Kirk like Kirk because I have to have Kirk in it. There's a scene I need Kirk. It's like shit. So you'll see, there's Kirk. I mean, it doesn't say anything, obviously, because it doesn't move, but I mean, it's Kirk. But it's just a small checklist of things. But if there's a fun, creative things in the film that are unusual, I mean, every film I do is different. And I did different things in this again. Yeah, home and release it next week. So, you know.
What's the release? What's our video this Saturday? Is it the one I think it is?
I mean, trying to be. I need to edit it also, but... You know, I did all the other ones today, so it's, you know, about balancing time. But I mean, there's not, you know, there's only 7
There might be a good episode on Saturday. We have one every Saturday, and this one might be a good one with guests. So.
There's only so much to show in that one, obviously. So,
yeah,
you know, that's fine. And we can edit a bit of it down when the topic moves on, shall I say. So.
Yeah. And with that, well, I almost gave away who
with Donald and Drowarty and Draythan. Oh, Draythan's a name from Star Trek. Remember Draythan? Who's Draythan, guys?
Trek culture. Looking forward to it, Sam. Give me a nudge.
I will do. Yeah. You know, because I mean, I make these ones to be watched. So if everyone wants to, share them on, they're all free and easy to share. It's my first TOS film as well. So.
And while Chris from Trek Culture is here, if you want to slum it sometime and actually just play multiplayer on Call of Duty, hit me up. I don't do DMZ. I don't do that shit. Just the multiplayer will be fine. And I do DMZ, I end up in the gulag right away. So, yeah.
Although, thank you, Stuart. I'll say, since you're live with me right now, I'll give you a public thank you.
For what?
That when you mentioned Bridge Crew a while ago, so you said gaming to Bridge Crew, whatever, I was able to get better Enterprise DL cards from those files. So thank you. I haven't installed them or anything yet because there's a whole thing, but they were significantly better than the ones I had. So thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And they do populate my TOS bridge. So double thanks, because before that I had to commission someone to make them, and that would suck because there's a lot of them. So I was able to use those. Fantastic. I even use their dedication plaque because again I don't have everything in stock. Especially, I mean, a corridor is sort of, it's not generic in that there are greeblies on the walls, but I don't build those. Texturing like a plate or something that's like very specific, and I can't necessarily build that myself. So very useful.
Chris Jackson, it'll be on YouTube here. If you're new to the channel, we've seen you commenting quite a bit, so thank you. But visit his channel and subscribe.
Yes, here it is.
Power 543 Fan Films on YouTube.
Yes, we released 7 films last year, and we have 11 to 12 films total. We have 2 Stargate.
There's the link there.
9 Trek. We have 3 trailers for 3 big films coming up. We have 2 docs and a variety of films with the very first Picard era fan film ever. Possibly the first ever fan film to use a season 1 TNG uniform, because everyone avoids them like the plague, I think. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Chris, I think you'll really enjoy his stuff. Go subscribe to his channel.
Technically, I go back to the Delta Quadrant once. Maybe. Well, no. Well, that's a hard one to answer.
And Chris, while you're doing that, also check out Captain Foley personal channel.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yes. Yes. But no, they're pretty high-end fan films, I think it's fair to say. Without too much humble brag, I think they're not perfect by any means, but they're pretty good.
They're damn good.
Thank you.
Damn good. Don't sell yourself short, dude.
Thank you.
Let's see.
Also, they're varied. Because, like I say, I have 1 post Nemesis. I have 1 pre-Generations. I have 1 DS9. I have 1 Picard. I have 1 early TNG, 1 mid TNG, another Dominion War one, and early TNG. So I have and the stage one's TOS, which I haven't done yet. So.
And lots of great ship stuff, and very canon accurate.
Yeah, lots of great ship stuff. I go overboard, as of course I would. And yeah, it's very keen on canon-y vibes. I try not to write anything that doesn't feel right. I mean, I've talked to many of my plots, and you're always quite impressed by how I integrate stuff. Because, using the canon. Although, boy, Lower Decks ruined all my things. I remember because they said Mariner was on DS9.
Engage, Chris Jackson, engage. Subscribe to yours 100%. I sent the link for mine, but yes, engage.
Yes.
Make it so.
Because remember, Lower Decks, retcon, they added to Mariner's backstory her dates, which I had already pre-written based on season 1. And so a film I wrote, my character didn't know who Mariner was, but now she has to have served with Mariner for 3 years. Because you can't.
Mariner's a very unmemorable character. Nobody would ever remember serving with her. It's fine.
But DS9's so small, you'd know everyone at DS9, but apparently she never met her despite 3 years. Ugh. That pissed me off so much, Stuart.
Maybe she just said that she didn't need her because she didn't like her.
No. There's a whole thing about they meet the Lower Decks team off screen and they talk about something they do, and they describe each. They don't have the names. They describe a purple hair guy and a feisty black lady and a purple Orion, and they describe them all, and it's a whole thing. But I basically wrote a Lower Decks episode off screen while we're leaving because it's bollocks. Because originally she just visited DS9 on the whatever the ship the Pasteur version was called.
Pasteur class.
And then they put her knowing Worf on DS9, which is only this many years. They had to know him. Frick. Anyway. Damn it, Mike. You didn't correspond with me and work out the joint canon. Boo.
Ooh, Chris says, what do you know? I'm already subscribed. Oof, I turned on the bell. No Discovery fan films, says Lisa Jericho.
I mean,
there's a Discovery ship in
there is,
them,
yeah. Although the other actor that was meant to play the other role, we've always shot it except his part, and he's fucked right off. So that currently is in limbo because I can't just reshoot without reshooting everything, which sort of is a bit redundant because we all look different. So that one's a bit of a clusterfuck. I did the CG for it though, so I've got shots of it. I paid for a bridge for it. Stupid, but yes. And that was great because I approached it like prime canon, which is hard. I had the characters have very, very specific dialogue based on what they saw. Not disrespectful, just what they would say if they were a 24th century person looking at the Discovery class. They would have thoughts. Yes. All right, Stuart. I do not think we're gonna get our final $11. Only $11.
I don't think we will either.
I mean, that's so little. That's so little. That's so little. But thank you, everyone, one and all, for joining in, having a conversation. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Have fun, relax, have whatever you want. Join us again next week for more things and bobs, of course. And yes, the countdown continues to Picard Season 3. The excitement is real. People are discussing and talking and excited. And Andrew arrives as I'm saying my closing monologue. So Andrew, what's up is you're late! 1 hour and 44 minutes late. The hell. Put a timer on.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
Ben.
Thank you, Trek Culture, for joining us. Thank you to everybody that's been
Yes.
here.
Yes.
And yeah, officially challenging Trek Culture 2 trivia off. Anyway, so until next time, he is Commander Cracking.
He's kind of Foley.